Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a non-bingo-y rack, but it's fairly balanced and there should be options to play. I'll certainly be looking to get rid of the W and one of the O's, and the rest of the tiles are fairly bingo-y, but I would consider playing the C for score. Now, 5 floaters to consider. It's possible I could have a bingo here. Let me consider them. Nothing with the G. Nothing with the L, I, T, Z. No, I'm not seeing a bingo. Can I get value from the Z? No. Is there anywhere for cow? No. Gosh. Through an R, I would have co-wrote. Wow, this is a little harder than I was expecting. Well, I have woo down here, which doesn't give terribly much away, and the rack leave is reasonable. I could play ow and zo. That's only 3 more points, and I don't think it's worth doing. So, well, it looks fairly balanced, but I'm not seeing a bingo, and B, C, D don't go well together. Wow, nice extension by opponent, 54 points. Does the I assist? I have the ubble ending. Dictable, not good. No, not seeing a play there. And ow and OW would have blocked that extension, by the by. So, what to do here? Well, the B is the least bingo-y tile. So, I have web. Why isn't that playing? I don't have the W. But I do, it's the B I wanted on this spot. How can I extend that further? Well, I've got the D. Yeah, 22 points. It does take an A in front, but I've got an A. And this rack leave goes well with the vowels in Galicia. I'm going with this. Wow, that looks pretty good. I have bingos through the E. I have sterical. And surely I have a 7 in row E making a bed, which remains available. And that could be a double-double. So is citrals good? I think it may be. Does it have an anagram? Not sure. This is 75 points if it's good. And it is fantastic. And I draw the Q with the U, which is good. So I'm only 30 points behind opponent. Quip is good. I have query in row N, getting the Q and the Y doubled and taking out useful floaters. What about column 8 onto this T? I have quirt. So I will be able to play off the Q. Opponent scoring really well, Glitzier and Injury, 54 and 39 points. So is there anything better with this rack? I'm close to diptyque, but the R scuppers that. Column 12, I have quips. That's nice. 52 points, so I should get a pretty handy Q score, but is opponent going to slow down? What does query score in row N? 45 points. I'd rather dump the Y than the P. Now, My quips spot remains available. So this was for the bigger score. If I draw A and I have caddy. Still U's to come. Is this best? DRY, not a great rack leave. So query for 45. This is a better rack leave, but it's not a great leave. And I'm sacrificing 7 points. Well, do I want to sacrifice 7 points given that I trail? What will I trail by after this play? 45 with 59. I'll only be 14 points behind, and actually DIP goes okay with the A. And I may have options for 6-letter plays in row O. Wow, this is a tough call. Quips was nice. But if opponent had a U, he would have a really decent score. I'm going with query. Well, that looks pretty good. I may not have a bingo, but it's a fairly balanced rack, so I should have options. I have Pygmoid in column 13. Not a bingo, but should score quite well and not give very much away. D next to a double letter square, not particularly dangerous in row O. Could I have a bingo here? Well, I'm not seeing a 7. D and A don't look... Well, I'm just not seeing a bingo through them, and query has taken out the bottom of the board pretty much. What about the R? No, G, M and P are just too clunky, and that's why Pygmoid is a nice play. It completely sorts the rack out and scores well. What if that's blocked? Now, I think well, no, I don't. I was thinking of oh my god, but I don't have a second O. Great, just 30 points for opponents. Pygmoid remains available for 38, and I'm going with it. Wow. Absolute blitz of vowels and no scoring tiles. And I'm yet to establish a lead. I trail by 6 with opponent on turn. And this could be tricky to sort out. Well, I guess a play of AIA, leaving Sean, would certainly sort the rack out. And that does play in column 12, next to Pygmoid. Do I have anywhere else for that? Do I have a play through the Z? Not seeing one. Will opponent be drawn to the W? Hopefully. What do I have with the I? Well, I don't have a way of playing AIA, and I very much do want to play precisely those tiles. I have Akai in column 6, but not very much. So certainly Aya in column 12 is my preference. But I'm looking around for another option, should that be blocked. There are spots like AIA and PA, but they score very little and provide too much for opponents. I'm not seeing anything myself through the W. It would need to be a much longer play. And the best I'm seeing there is Wayne keeping a preponderance of vowels and duplicates, so just asking for more trouble next turn. Now, opponent has played 32 points, good score. He's blocked my AIA spot. So, what to do? So this was the option I was considering. Akai for 8, pretty dismal. But it is creating a new lane, and I trail, and this rack leave is immense, especially with the D in the top row. And column 14 pretty handy for 7-letter plays, although not ones ending in S. I think it's right to make this sort of play, opening the board up, given that I trail, given that this rack leave is so strong. I am going with this. So I have inhales. Does that play? Not sure it does. Does it have an anagram? Okay, not that I can see. How about row A ending in D? Or just with a D? No. How about column 15 ending in E? No. Column 14 would need to be an anagram of inhales, which ends in a vowel. No. How about row K ending T or TS? Gosh, this is such a perfect rack. Or so it seemed. Am I missing loads? Inhales. Does that have an anagram? I don't think Haylines is good. If it was, it would play. So coming back to this D. So I have hand as a component part of a word, but I'm just not seeing anything. I will have plenty of options. This is a nice rack, and I've got a scoring tile in the H, so if I don't have a bingo, I will be able to do something else. So I have win in row A for 30 points, but it would be so much nicer to bingo. What about this R? Is it available? Inhalers. That would need to end I, well, not in a reasonable selection of tiles. Just rechecking that inhales doesn't play in column 5, and it doesn't. Injury doesn't take an S. Will opponent provide a spot for my bingo? Probably not. And what if win is blocked? Where else can my H play? I have AH, jar and a. Keeping lines, that's pretty good. 29 points, so I am definitely going to score this turn. So, opponent plays 30 points. Is there an inhale spot? And I don't think there is. Bye doesn't take anything in front that I've got. So, I was thinking about win, keeping seal. 30 points. And a decent rack lead, which goes well with the D. It doesn't create any great lanes, but it doesn't obstruct column 14 either. And the alternative to that was AH rather, for about the same score, keeping lines. N is a better tile than the L, but there are 3 N's to come, only 1 L. And L goes quite nicely with the AES, so I'm minded to go with win. One last pause for an anagram of inhales to come to mind, and that hasn't worked, so I'm going with this. So I do draw the end, so I'm glad I played win. I trail by 30. Do I have a bingo here? I would have linesman through an M. Tricky rack this, because if you don't have a bingo, it's a real struggle to score. I was fortunate last turn to have the H. No such luck this turn. So I'm certainly looking to play off one of the N's, and actually if I play off just an N, the rack lead would be pretty handy. I do have AN I could play, only 2 A's to come though, so the A is fairly precious. Playing just the N is going to score so little that it's hard to justify that, given that I have the S, there could well be a 30-point play somewhere. Now, through an A, I have analyze, but the A of David doesn't work. Through an I would have Silenian, no I. Is there really nothing with the D? Sand line, sand, not good. And I'm not seeing anything with the N. What about the E? Well, I think it's Selenian. Silenian may not be good, but Selenian maybe, but that doesn't play. Okay, so my decision is whether to play off just N or whether to play off AN. AN, 17 points. Just N, what's the best I can do? 6 for bin. Lots of O's to come, and by takes an O in front, so I'm slightly reluctant to block that with bin. Where else can N play? I can make when. What about playing something onto this A? Well, that would be rack wrecking, which I'm reluctant to do, since this rack is so bingo-y. Now, is there really no 7 here? C-line plus an N? Nope, not that I can see. Both blanks still to come. Wow. Just at the time when I'm contemplating playing off just 1 or 2 tiles. And only 23 in the bag. Wow, strong move from opponent. Wow, he removes the an option, but it suggests he's got a very strong rack. This could be a race to the first bingo. And I'm really tempted to maximise my bingo prospects by just playing an N. What if I draw an O? There are 5 of them to come. Would I have a bingo? 12 minutes on my clock. Normally one would keep more vowels and consonants, but I'm attracted to saline as a strong 6-letter set. But supposing I draw an O, this rack plus a D plus an O. Not seeing anything. What about the E? No, it would just be bad. Only 1 I to come, only 2 A's to come, so I'm unlikely to draw either of those. O is troublesome, but I suspect most consonants, well, a lot of them are going to give bingos ending in S, and there are no 7-letter S lanes. But if I create one, opponent has signalled he's got a strong rack, so I think I'm in a position where I need to hope that opponent doesn't have a bingo and that I do. Not a great position to be in, but there we go. Do I really have no other option? I am going to go with bin. Is that the right thing to do? Yeah, if I draw an O, I don't have a 7-letter bingo with an O, I don't think. So I am going with this. Wow, that is insane, playing off 1 tile and drawing a blank. Does that give me a chance of winning this game? Surely it does. I am definitely going to bingo this turn, and I haven't even spotted a single bingo yet. Well, opponent gets his down, but I'm going to be able to reply in kind. I have analyze in column 1. And that might be the play because that stops opponent playing in row H onto this A. But maybe I need that lane. So is there any way of scoring more? Any double lanes open? I don't think so. Let me see what analyze looks like. 74 points, 10 minutes on my clock. So 74, 3-1, I'll trail by 30. I may need another bingo, but this is creating a lane. In fact, there'll be 2 really good 7-letter lanes in columns 2 and 14. I'm going with this. Well, here come the O's. So I'm not in great shape here. I'm thinking to play the H for score and 2 of the O's just to balance the rack. So I have oh ho in column 4, making okay, he and odd. That's not bad. Wow, 29 points. Let me check the remaining vowels. 7 out of 15, so a balanced bag, which isn't good for me if I'm keeping a vowel-heavy rack leave. Now, do I have anything in column 12 to use the M? HM is good. Well, no, I don't. I was thinking of room, but it's ROOH I would need to play. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything great there. So, really at the moment, all I've seen is the play in column 4, but that's a good play. And I really don't want to play something like just HO, because 4 vowels, 1 consonant, I think that's provides very limited opportunities of winning the game. So still the X to come of the big tiles and a couple of Fs, which are non-bingo-y. But the rest of the unseen pool is quite bingo-y. Is opponent going to have a back-to-back bingo and put an end to this game? I do have WOH in column 2. Not scoring very much. But interestingly, if I played that, then I'm making EH, which takes an S. I've got one, and there's only one to come. So opponent taking a while with this play, which suggests he doesn't have a bingo, I think. If he did have a bingo, I think it would be unlikely to be with a plethora of alternative bingos. So he may be concerned about the bingo lanes on the board, and from his perspective, there certainly will be bingos available to me, so he may be thinking about blocking bingo lanes. Which is fine by me, because that's likely to leave oh ho alone. Well, this E of an edge ordinarily would be a really useful floater, but as soon as you've got a vowel-heavy rack, that's not the case. Great. Well, good score for opponent, maybe enough for him. And what he's done is play in a place such that my oh-ho now takes out columns 2 and 3 as bingo lanes. However, I still think this is the right thing to do. There are lanes in columns 14 and 15, and it'll be hard for opponent to block both. And there could possibly be a funky multi-tile overlap in column 3. But with FM, P and X and U to come, I think the likelihood of me having a bingo is really slim. Oh ho for 29. Well, not bad. Not good in terms of being bingo-y. But maybe I could score something with the X. I trail by 30, 2 tiles in the bag. So no standout X spots. Can't get the X to be tripled and then doubled. Tut takes a U, I have one. Socks is good, but I can't get that to play twice. So I don't think there are any SX words. hex is good. So I have ox. Sorry, I have x. Well, no, I don't have XO. It's E, which goes next to both OK and odd. And I do have two E's, but EXE not good. I have Vex in row C, which takes a T, but the T isn't on my rack, and it is in the unseen pool, so probably on opponent's rack. I have Lex, Wex, and B, but these are all scoring very mediocre scores. So, and I really would be looking to get 50 from the X to remain in with a hope of winning. Yeah, nice play by opponent. Empty the bag. Is probably going out. He's got Pete and Pod, and he's got Tape and PE. So this is my last move. The game is lost. I trail by about 70. 9 minutes on my clock. What's the best I can do here? So I considered X as an option, 33 points. What about Muck's 30 points, but it's burning the M as well, so I think that's a better play. What about getting the X tripled in column 14? Nothing coming down from the I. And just nothing full stop. Do I have a play through the M? SOM, SEM, SUM? Nothing is working. Lex is 27, so that's not great. Well, what about this? Exams for 43, I think that's the best I've seen, and I don't need to worry about the rack leaf since opponent is going out. I am going with this. And opponent goes out. And the final score, 387 for me, 438 for opponent, a winning margin of 51 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. So it was opponent to go first and plays Glitz, my rack. Woods, that's nice for 34. Yep, I think that would have been the play. What do I? And there's the owl spot. And I play Woo for 17. Yeah, well, certainly Woods would be a better play. Nice extension by opponents. And now my rack. And there was a double-double. Wow, battled through the T. And I played bed for 22, so definitely a suboptimal play there. Opponent's rack not looking great, but digs out injury for a big score. Now, I play Citrals for 75, but N2, articles available for a few more points, and some bingos, other bingos through the I. Opponent still struggling to some extent, but still scoring over 30, which is good. Now, I thought about quips, didn't like the rack leave, went with query for only 7 fewer points. So is dip 7 points better than dry? Well, it's going to be close. Let me have a go at evaluating these. So dry, D and R together, probably positive, but wide drags it back. I suspect that might be worth -5. Dip, not great, but not awful either. I would say that's close to 0, maybe -0 or -1. So there could be a 4-point difference. There's only a 7-point difference in score. So I prefer the play with the better rack leave. Opponent's rack plays waves. And now I have Pigmoid for 38. That looks fine. Wow, missed bingo. Opponent plays on edge. Could have played ungelded at A1. Tricky one to see, I wouldn't have been sure of it. Now I trail by 40. And I play Akai for 8, and wow, only 10 more points for the top play on this list. And I think that justifies my play. I was keeping a rack leave of Sean. And Sean, I think, is going to be at least 10 points better than AS. Opponent's rack plays Barked. Phew, no missed bingo here, and I thought there may have been. So I play Win for 30, and I think that's fine. This is a nice rack leave. Opponent's rack plays Tut. Yeah, so he is just getting rid of duplicates and leaving a really strong 5-letter set and taking out a spot where I could have scored. Oh, wow, A2. There is a bingo through the D, Annelids. Wow, what a miss. High probability bingo. What do? I play Bin for 6, so yeah, definitely a miss there. Well done if you spotted that. Opponent plays Antlered, but he would have had alternatives elsewhere on the board if I had played Annelids. Now, I get to play Analyze, but I'm still playing Catch Up, and I trail by 30. Opponent plays Foe. I play Oho, and I prefer that to Ray. Only 1 less point and a much better rack leave. Opponent plays Quaffs, and here we go. The bag is empty. And Exams for 43 is clearly best, so delighted to have spotted that. And finally, L3 Pate was opponent's play. So what a game against a very strong opponent, and I felt I was on the ropes fairly early on and stayed that way. I managed to hang on to opponent's coattails, but never managed to get a bingo down and emerge out in front. So many congratulations to my opponent on his victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.